taklela belau adia kalol ngalok maluup elem iwaiwa aruba ka moko korangau dingar bitar kau mesaba akler kau asil sa dia kalat tamalau al maloms maboy le manggal tamalau alak labsei aruba ka mosob aklau rarogui el tugudel ngut maklau di maungil basum mosob aklau omei mo omorael elaang el moradia kaula bangalel me bodolulu ubal Dios el ngarayang ta agimral lolol ta omungul largamam ma omreng al saul largamam merubak el merakaur el altutau magimo welcome ra presence rakaw logi wa edau reng rakaw edam el Dios el dia kadil ngara alsa melo marang direk kal mal ngara talongalam elo otin mulwa sei kamama o Dios el belu emral soma melo mu la rokul toko yeruba kalom kadong rang klem le tiginge madire kal murgama mela sei ngal tanga taigel belu lo Dios rakaw esegi di amral soma me adam el Dios magimral mululu relang lo dersia daitorio surang lowips junior ma baiseringi altang ladiakal ngartiang matirgar rokul minister sama tirgel ngartel ngaringi aku ngarali ruba agimral loldar sergamam rokui makabel menter gamam mabaluma me adam el Dios el merakaw emal merenga sule mertial teginge melwasei ko bang gamam raigel rokui il giborngi michael rokui il gim ngaringi rabek kelsil se adam el Dios el molmu tersel omei segi dinga mokloarang mam la sengel Dios el milebi ayang the ma ultama lobak lisi madre de la lobang kamam en merat kloarang mam edam el Dios agi merenga sule meleng kedingar ngaringa dinga meloreng semakamral moreng sang lungu me oreng saigal tokoel momudung el al el tutau y emral mo oya ku edam el Dios el waungil el klakarngel asib e waungil adam ruba lo ya ku gamam el mangiti kai gamam rogui pol sab amam adam el kel ngara al selabud makal tareng mapalti kareng matogu bet selelom sereng el ngarga ruba kal mertigal mangatakle la balumam agi mal merenga sule mel gonge ruba kam sab amam el me om katong rang klem ang patokal belu ati akal kangira kaweru pa kaya peluri rahmal klo aulti kalama ang lamura alsel hindi ka mamaki mo Dios sir kaweru pa kaya kamulasak maralobang kami esel mabanggamam with your presence edam dakal sabay ela reo rail gol kumararwa el tomal lamami edam makamral masaw leru pa kaya kimral maskaro gulamul maudang sa maklapkal alangitra akarat siya kawer edam al Dios el mo o makngal tangatra tial kabel menter kamam mabelumam mar atama merogu ye adam el Dios mal merenga sulem ra beltiga rengar kawal diplo oil gargik lom aliur kamame garreur kamame mangare saba akler kamame adam el Dios ralom sa maklaw say magimralungil el melmutre ela el ngara al sela maringal ta magimrenga sulem memlulu ay kalobang klem kal Dios el adam Dios el ngal kama Dios el edare amen.
Amen. Mal te mal merenga sula la o dos rigidra de la yala verse el mal win embra lo maklat rigidra así que da embra ngara arroel ma akhlaq ringina ruba khal Dios embra ngal tangat el bulul el kien ngara buda so yeda merenga sula Dios sigir el sei iguti te ale gotulu bogus rai budul maraklai marubul belau bilung maybe reclai mar masih belau President of Senate marugul senator speaker marugul other house governors legislators marbek la other belau to bet susuri del mortir rogul ngara ablurang ayang al moro hocharigi mangara ikla ablur berada ransis ejida gorabtoga aise misreklai malungil total le gorgau ma dire mis omtilo ma mis sungyama el no sé ama Mr. Ngawakla mosin artial al total u komt era a media gida artial u mangiadre al total al artial press conference la government ngari Minister Jenkins education ngari Minister Aitarora state Minister Matura MHRCTD ma minister Erbalau ministry gidra held dirigal ngartiang attorney general of the vice president matigal tuktobet silgester gida ngaria director targong ma special assistant tapasul ngara ministry of finance dirigal director Paloy ngara officer gidra airport ma immigration dirigal ngaringi executive director election commission Sherwin Yamaguchi Madrigal director Curtis Elovatra Bureau of Public Safety Rada ko ngari order den more ngin meeting makora di instead of going into detail regal gagarus el bodosad ebadik mo ate al المساء director of public safety mabal so the first issue akminsal headliner tiabelo tial el Tamara Boys el PIDC building كده this other reassure other belarus كده ده قد قندون نيدي behavioral wise من ضمن سوق العسكر ديريكتور بس كده update را investigation راسي قد يجير الجير يغرى وريول جيرل ديريغال ديكت ليسه ديريكتور اول ديريغال غارتيان لانيا executive order number 489 البدا سانين الي يتيا coordinated border management if you want to say something about that also قد ديريغال سامل share but قادم سودي تيال تغور تيال شوري سوير
Mututa President, Ministers, Madam Attorney General, mga role directors, mga media, mga bekladong atekto, real tutaw. So the ISL incident may happen on a Thursday, Friday morning. Luasing drive-by shooting. Say, the Buddhist order niya lang. Tumnamtig sa pellet, nagtamar boys. So, kadang yung ayele ergan. So, currently, the criminal investigation, CID natural get a hold of the manager of PIDC, and the people will take time. Lumbas kamam sel video ra CCTV tir. Ay gira kabelment tangara tas tugil mara armid, pangara mobile top side sort of ngara outsider say gidel area naringisel incidents. So, dia ul degel adi del ngarengan so adi sura adu belas dia ul keluar meu akti on tigel mora media lo asem au era molto da news please call a public Bureau of Public Safety bodga nga era mo ul top da garbage particularly gel blue lagal news molto da newspaper di adio agil ako selgum des so tra newspaper dir anyway malune ga la se boltar gud gid ma kamam ada blabulis ma media ma blur bela rogui tiap luad rogui masum mral somi lo nga seurgid eden bet kain sel lo rogui bolso eden gut mklita bulad le lage kom Tikita agora observation agora com mal quality territory arbekla. Marin about sisbra blimiu ma. Agil area mangi. Hold that information. Or top da agil tial get or top the information. So please assume so me about ungit tabluat. Et cooperate rogo ngam kat mok tial belu. Ngatial di mo tiamral mora officer ro bela tederegal lo dong lo Estado ay idolom bro. So akpo maktiregal mo ay sutil gela sel la gela drug testing. Very costly. Gilom dasungier ada ol bilma gel say. Makpo putila sa sumsumilo lang ser kuma me bay mo ngodur ada ol bil chance tiala mo ngil munsbel lusuida musuk mamar bulis man la dil otlay mo mam Again, one more time, bakma doli tu me media la singa kadi tiga media sa kal mu newspaper gumiu. The please I get sum somil to the news. Call us first. And dia la singa public information officer mabra bla police I intend to have one. But assume dia ke ngaka public information of la police. Dia igi de nga ka ore de mara. Do we the president? Oi. Sulang.
Sula director elabot. Agumral wasa selgoto close to trela awil communication among gomlar banks wasa call him. He's ready to respond. Ni sel direct mat close to trel message niya important direct communication of public. Akmadin wasa sel dosada watukara darak sa wasa please help give us the information. Agal tora wa surveillance, video surveillance, o ingane agal camera ra government. Diga diri ko los pa agal camera ra business angane camera tire lulingi tri director ase ulguma gal owner am skida agal video footage ngin diri gal se dum se ngaral mlai magitra getral get together lom agal baby ra video ra cell area. So most importantly we need teamwork. So, Eli, kita mula sign Executive Order number 489. Tiang dam ko na saying Coordinated Border Management Working Group. Tiang dulmu uringir sera September 21 or 2022 Executive Order 475. Tiang mula mokte kani agora wal wase for 2 years medong udar ka tirgarugul adal tira ongara aborder rigid. Musel dosada aborder rigid ang involve Hayes ra Department of Transportation, involve ra Aukdaw, involve Director Pelora Airport, involve Director Targong ra Customs and Immigration, involve AG, involve Chibra Labor, involve Director of Public Health. Anything to do with the border, girel coordinated. One of the things silubia sometimes ada de oro mru lagi lurerir ndi dak sigid communication agal effort to get atun swadal stop radrak sel mesois brablur belao. Everybody needs to be working together. So sel swadal announcing tial group including the director of la police amal eli etemle ase mal somam tial all molm. It's really helped us ragal enforcement issue gida akma segel togol truck cases that recently I get part of the coordination ulem los edel release elurior. So kadamre ngasulir amri lurerir and tial bledasani elia amla ruli tial mo permanent. They got it 2 years until it decided was namu dakal sama makalurior ndia hakumla lo ase ulet nang artia rogoi amal sa samaria makalurior emlisi irtial lurerir then ngari agora soal mokmu sesel giret tial lurerir dara. Oh.
Two co-chairs, Director Tarong.
Oi. Cabo. Ngon.
Mr. President, Mora Media, welcome Surai invitation and welcome Coordinated Border Management Working Group. Extended select. Continue the strategies that we develop to ensure our borders are well protected. So as co-chair, I'm Director Tarong. Lamongil. As co-chair, I'm Director Tarong. Malmol conduct monthly meeting, quarterly meeting. Malmol loader I got role government agencies will ensure I get procedures ma'am. Policies ma inline lovangel sel effort el deter protect the border megel makit el gar megel illegal substances ma prohibited items ada kabel tu rabel belo mal saul el extended el executive order magil mutel continue malmol kaing sew el ensure public sel trust tira malmol melomarat mo dangar sel protect the border rabel belo Degal diorang asule la Postmaster General taraklol adlo bang gamam sila coordinated effort al sila post office mang man na mo si mang giman na improve el procedures ma technical equipment mali ay man hindi al ngartyang ding man na mok al sel post office megel dong lo spem eksurel marmang mak camera lol ngoseur tigal adril make sure gidel en makitel gar ma dagal girel metmul belawa ada kabel sisem hindi Aurora malmol mang ngaigel derstal mo hindi malmol mal kay sew I'll make sure airport ma seaport magel guk baby rapport travel di ba kada designate ending sebel nganya matamal lang yagi malmol mal kay sew coordinator law enforcement I'll make sure gagi the borders gida protected.
And I think one of the things el dodong le say oy sila store a supply. But the other thing we need to work on a demand. Tara effort bladder within all of these agencies, get mandatory drug testing, random. Say the idea was saying, "Mada deter adam mudakal albalo laiga kalo." But at the same time, tara loloria director, I'm sure he's going to bring it up with Rubul Belau. I encourage other olbi, will change yourself policy al time, el walanga 6 months at probation alola eyes. Kita was say, al sumutamala eyes. Automatic termination. See, I'm not proposing more all bill, something that we need to consider if we want to deter. Say part ng yun, let's miss easy ng lugar. Ano sa mga mukmo AG, director tarong.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to everybody in the media, ministers. Yes, what Peter has said really puts us in a position to strengthen the CBM working group. We need to have an integrated border management working approach. So with all the agencies there, we know that whatever issues that may come about, if we lack resources, if there's an issue with costing, infrastructure, policies, laws, we address those, whether it's drugs, health, tourism, in relation to what we do. So we have a very motivated group. Our focus also has been, to streamline our processes. So now we have Interpol, we have all these Asakura system for customs. We're looking at improving our efficiency and overall effectiveness at the borders. And just to let you know, President, we did conduct drug tests within our bureau. We have more officers to test, but we did have one that tested positive, and that officer has resigned. But we have worked with that one person in the past where they've gone back a second time and gone to the health. But this time around, I guess that officer, failed the test. So we are looking at, ensuring that we provide the services, and our officers need to be professional when they work. They need to adhere to all these policies. So these are things that we've been hoping to improve in terms of standards. So I think that's what I can say at this time. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Dimna seguide, President, Masulara tema melgukme magi other sa media. I open for one or two questions, and then we continue the press conference. Others.
As of last week, did I announce in the last press conference, Interpol is now operational. Yeah. So the database is here. We have a procedure. They ask for screening, and they can get names checked online instantly. So that helps with the whole border protection.
So to understand, because you're coordinating, you're working together.
The project along with Vanuatu and Fiji. So we're not the only ones doing this, but it was because of COVID. We had to rearrange our business processes. Health became a priority. And as we moved out of the COVID situation, we're encouraged to find better ways to improve the services. So the entry vessels, people coming in, trade and travel facilitation, we had to make sure that people were aware of our requirements. We looked at what the current processes were, We revised the forms. We revised the procedure so that it would be simple for somebody to, if they wanted to come and visit Palau, they would understand what the requirements were. One of the things we've done is for our bureau was to create a website, put our requirements for immigration, customs, and biosecurity. We've been able to improve entry vessels. You know, a lot of people before, they would just go get the landing permit and then not realize what the other requirements were. So immigration needed to make sure that BOA, Bureau of Aviation, issues the certificate first. PNAA, which covers the air, that they also approve the craft coming in, then immigration improves. So those processes are what we were able to build. The administrative and operational arrangements among ourselves at the border, and with labor and health, we needed to make sure that if there wasn't a law or policy, we would come together and make sure that this is what people need to do, so that there's no hiccups at the border. So we did a lot of that. We also developed a strategy plan, and this is long-term things that we need to do. When we identified ways to address issues, and there were recommendations. One recommendation was to also have a joint risk assessment center where all the agencies can operate and provide intel so that they can share that among members. So there are a number of recommendations that we gave in the strategy plan to the president, and I think that's what OEK was asking for. Can we see what the plans are? So we're not just touching on security, we're looking at tourism, labor, and our economy as well, because what we do affects, you need a holistic approach on these things. So those are just some examples. AG, if we had concerns about investigating processing cases, we would consult with the AG, so we get free advice. NEU, we had to strengthen the relationships between the post office and the police and ourselves, so we have an arrangements there. We do cross-designate people. The NEU officers, when they come, we work together. It's not one taking the lead over the other, but we developed SOPs. We have an understanding on the arrangements. So those are the things that we needed to do. So I'm happy that we have a director of public safety right now that we can work together with and address drug issues, for example, because it's important that we deal with this every month when we meet. We can't solve diabetes or the drug problem, but we certainly can look at preventive measures, identifying people before they come to Palau. And with the tools, with Asakura on cargo and trade, with Interpol and getting the right laws in place, we can make sure that we can protect Palau's, and this is a good tool.
And the new biometric scanning.
Biometrics is just another example, so.
And then I think the other one is QR code. The QR code with, that was actually Ministry of Health, right?
Right,
And
right.
Human Services that help you develop that, and now it works better than other countries.
Yes.
Palau's is one of the best.
In fact,
I went
we
to Saipan, they had a hard time.
Right.
Ours works great.
Japan was surprised when they heard that we had implemented that into an arrival QR entry form. So now we're working with them on that project to develop it further, because Customs is receiving the QR code. We want to move that over to immigration. So immigration will know everything about everybody coming in beforehand. But right now, within our bureau, for example, we've been able to take immigration and customs and identified people to work in investigations to focus on intel. So the QR code, we're looking at that before the flight comes. We're looking at the manifest. But what we need to also do is make sure we have the advanced passenger information that the airlines can provide to us, and the passenger records, so we can look at people. Did they buy the ticket? What are they coming here for? So that's how customs immigration works at the border, and those are the things, other tools that we need. But I'm sure with Interpol, we are going to get hits. I'm sure of that. And those are just a few out of many things that we need to do. We need to look at improving legislation, policies, and the administrative, build on what we're currently doing. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and tourism is also. We have somebody from tourism, also director who's in the group. We probably need to review if we need to involve any other agencies as well into the group later on, but we'll look at that. We do get people from other agencies that come, Ministry of State. We had a number of agencies that came in, even the senator that came in just to observe. So I think that our next invitation will be to the president to come in and see what we actually do, so they can get a feel of how we discuss things at the meetings. So I better stop here because I think I've talked too much over my time.
Last pala pala. Recent naman ako spare sa dal online tagi dal QR code mang capture mal klol information mal betal selbe sistema. A question saying I dal local agencies niya part del coordinating group para kami. I kal data collect is there anyway sa edal ngaria anyway I kal data sa elmo consolidated malwados I mean it will provide a lot of good policy decision-making tools for, I think, for kamamal nga ramit yaeng. So, adan man mo, ito kong information is ito ng spell nga reki. So, nga ko how do you do that?
Alan Times, there is a dashboard, creator nila per month. It's highlighting in my Ministry of Human Health and Services. Let tira mal help para mal creator sel dashboard origin rabalu IDCR at Skogi nargel balu ma IDCR passengers na laradial lara Skogi private yacht private jet military Ministry of Health ndir mal sa ML supplement tegal comment ra kal mutul oiso mal mowi.
Takso lang Director. Kung nasa sa di ako ragol, once the system is in place, kada ko iron out agel processes sa information flow, and then of course insa mo start to publish agel historical data, right? Agel details sa the Peter. Direct kal bay dim na sa comment mlamot tel times at return other customs sa malcheka clock tamal merula really. So before ang kadim la kalsal sisi sige dulurior ilang maral dia kay Mirsel, it's like a fine tooth comb maralungin makmal maringa sulir adame director material rogul other working group paling that's the standard we need to uphold ngotul atit sel deberabul dilo sadra se arangar papal ada di mil dia ka check clock clear mangarang so kada akmal nutel te ale mal maringa sulir le sige dia kumda se standard al giria del murt teringi ilang giria del gukom da se sel motob der belaw Hegel existing la dakadol top dar wangim sa marwa room maklingi gila sa gida direct la gira del mo omesringi
ngomul nganyang sila government tending United Nations Development Program amne funding over 1 million amne help fund egel resources ma technical equipment el gi mo spe so the tilo dra gobi de mal koram ke open borders etc recover as soon as possible and the resources ma baby infrastructure equipment were down for 2 years immediately tamle identify because of COVID identify mang before seral domo le director mal makayal da director mal ela selbo director agi mal makarsamang manggora ngai gida magkalil improvement talgi bam rule ma CCTV gi mo musel al mo help supplement egel existing equipment malisi rawreram ra borde mal kadore ngasul la UNDP lang mal me close regal ngasul mera government ma blur bela helper gidra atagi the integrated border management working group
Maral tokoy gelol ko tamakara minister a health agi mlet maral mlo maute Mr. Targong Director Targong al maral inspecta baggage ka mam makadamral amatra our frontliners are adamra malungi lurelir magiwase ka mama orrev diak tiasel mlarsel gotel ngarwavel officer president was el almong giru chegling mal na moklo rod arabulu was mal na moklo darax ma kata matra reliu matal malungi larngu de echin masa Mr. Niray Lamasang el tarangias kalbuig el gora right hander director customs el masuba urior mang shout out to you kamal masawlem na return el me urior magsabi de lo spare kau adi garige Mr. Targong ase you know the merulay gal butoko lungi lurior omeseng technology is on the tips of our fingers kada amatra ureliul kada mral gora in other words kada mral mo ahead tial technology ngaringi endi ako odang ase garabalu ase kada merulay gal rogu lurior mol mutra post office ma port I get rogu port of entry endi tuguk ngaringi tirgel guk magasail adad el merut aurior el ngara payroll ar adalol si sa bradarax mang aktir garireng sa 2 weeks ago wase ngaringi ar baby ar adal aurior el masuga imol package email telaila o gore al sugum tamo malaringi ra post office tangaram da la post office ngaringi ada ritmo tira kau message ti metigal ada customs el either ngara post office al ubang ngara port al ubang ngara airport makora di swaka logel wase ay gayi del bato lungil luriol dorula ending more ar adel ngara outside nga hadi al spegal report tangara lendi ako dentrin di gureng selwase email tela la email package magavamru lay gayi del lurior mang magara hindi ako dingel waseng gire del molngas aududir mang modiak sel temptation rar tirgal ngara tigal do spare tir ngara frontline ngara port of entry makora di swakal ngau de swemel girel say adang msulang
So we've been trying to address any concerns raised from the public with respect to corruption and rotation is one way to deal with these types of controls. Trust goes a long way, and Oike asked me the last time, "Do you trust your people?" And I said, "Well, if they're given, if they understand their roles and responsibilities, then." We should be able to ensure that such trust is given to them. But yes, I mean, we do have officers. If I go back and look at the past, in terms of corruptions, they're always going to be bribed, especially if they're desperate. So that's something aside from that. But we need to make sure that the officers we have a check and balance system there, so that they don't get tempted. I know some of them, they say they don't make enough. Maybe they have big loans and things like that. But across the board, we need to make sure that the officers are being supervised and checked all the time. We do send 2 people out to the containers. The post office, we do make sure that they follow the procedures. That's why we have SOPs. There will always be questions. I remember coming into customs the first time, and just like immigration, I was told that, hey, this officer is corrupt. What are you going to do about it? And I tell them, send me the complaints. Give me the information so we can determine whether or not that's happening. So we've been able to move some people around despite any evidence of them or any charges being filed against them. But those are the things we look at. So it's, I guess, across the board, you're always going to have people who are questionable, whether they're loyal and dedicated. And we do have a lot of people who are motivated, who want to find drugs, who want to, so, but the most important thing is when we hire people, we got to make sure that they're trained. They understand their roles, that we have SOPs in place so that they follow that. If they deviate from that, then that's a problem. The officers do have a discretion to determine whether they should look more into this package. They should have that knowledge, that experience there, and it's sad to say that we had a lot of good people who went bad and they are no longer with us. But those are the things in law enforcement that we'll find. But Yeah, we do look at that daily. We do have integrity and ethics manual in place that officer we put them through, and we need to expand that across the board. So yeah, it's important that we understand our employees very well, and with the intel that we get, we need to screen them out and make sure that, like public safety, they're not involved, and that's why drug testing, and that's why when we open packages, we make sure that there are at least 2 officers there. At the post office in the back, you'll find that when we do open a package, and the consignee is not there, and the law allows us to do that. If we open it, we don't find anything, we put a slip inside, and we put a green tape that says, inspected by BCBP, and then we transfer that over to public safety, to the post office. If we need to detain that, whether it's because we're working with NEU, we're going to do a controlled delivery, then we need to make sure that post office and everybody's aware that, so that there's no concern. You need to make sure you weigh the evidence and document things, and that's what will save us from this. So I'm not surprised that when somebody, I think the last bus, when we busted somebody, the person said, "Hey, can I just give you so much?" So I think that's common. But we need to identify what are the risks. When our officers go to the field, it's a risk to inspect these containers. But why do we let people inspect containers on the field? Because the port is small. We don't have X-ray machines at the port, but we are getting X-ray machines next year. That's being funded by Japan. We are getting X-ray devices that will scan, and those are coming. We just need to make sure that we complete the facilities, and everything's ready for that. So there's a lot of effort going into those preventive measures. We need to ensure that issues raised by OEK, when we get the mail, that we have somebody there to monitor the post office when they deliver those. Peter and I was just talking this morning about how it's important to not only cover areas at the airport before, but even after, to do a sweep so that nobody takes something and dumps it in the toilet and those things. But our officers we need to make sure that they're trained, that the supervisors are aware, and we have plans in place that will address all the risks. So we don't just respond when drugs happen. We're there. We did meet with Homeland Security to see how they can help us with goods coming into Palau. So we're looking at all areas, not just with our people, but on the processes and the laws. And that's why I told OEK last week, we need to pass the Customs Act, because without that, a lot of our authority gets questioned. Yeah.
Sorry, one more for Director, since I have you here. Just one thing about the ASCUDA systems. Is there some importers not yet have done the training but haven't gotten their IDs? Is there a reason why it's taking so long for the IDs to come out? Because some of us are paying so much to brokers every time we get a package, and they said they're just fixing our usernames or our accounts, but it's some people have been waiting for a while.
No, that's not a problem that's been addressed to me before. My understanding is if you want to become a user, you come in, get trained, and we're doing a workshop now for all our people. It's a refresher course, but anybody can come in and schedule, and we can do that. So you can either see a customs broker, or if you want to become a user, come and get trained so you get authorized to have access. We had a complaint where somebody says, "Hey, why do I have to go to a customs broker?" And then we went and looked, and we said, "Hey, you're a user. Why can't you clear?" So there shouldn't. We only have a few people who are in the Asakura team that will help develop the training, and those people are also going to trainings. We had 2 people that just went to Fiji, and end of November they're going. So if they're there, then we have to schedule and make sure that when they return. But we have 2 people that are, and we need to have more people to help manage and look at the whole system and train people. But training shouldn't be an issue. If you want to be registered or get the user ID, it's not a problem. But if you're making mistakes and errors, then you need to either get it right, or we need to take you off the list So those are the things we're seeing because you can't make mistakes. We can understand that a lot of people did that when they first started, but a lot of people are getting it right. So if you're a user, you've got to comply. Otherwise, that might be a problem with you getting
No,
access.
specifically waiting for the access to they've been trained. They're waiting for an email. That's
If you give me the names, I'll go back and find out, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what we want to hear. Okay, what are some of the problems? Because from what I understand, out of 300 some people, we only have about 290 users, active users, and a lot of them aren't. They expect customs to process their entries, but they need to be the one to understand the harmonized tariff codes. They need to be the ones to process, and it's not that hard. You just need to come in and see us. So have them come and see us, or give me the name so I can follow up and get to the root of your problem and get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, President Director, Executive Director, Election Commission, patiently me ngam ne first year madadung. Diga to krami la takle Director abla Police Amir Rael. I'm sure everybody knows and are anticipating and was say especially when it has to do with ballots. So maybe Director and somebody give us an update case, ballots in Girelger, how soon they're going to be shipped out, and all of those information. What are the reminders and more to get other outside the mamala ballot? What are the procedures to follow? Malakal local send a ballot and let's say combine things like that. Sula.
President, coordination me agora mal ofra agora sekion di me kumura da ngara coordination ma urenga sulem leadership rau en no sabela minister Aitaro minister finance ma director targo el giblem coordinate no smooth transition legal balot el May mlera kasus lera kasus ma tutao gimna start el sorta egal balot start el send out absentee by afternoon gimo accept the walk-ins. As of yesterday, in 2,515 el request hablado receive. Obviously, senkio amalas el sel el alwigue agi send out agero. Gimo mitlo bengela mrenga sulela postmaster etel mle reach out ma gimo mitringa afternoon le coordinate el girela egal mail el gibom send out. Agora diu le clat que el mortir gai sense kadamsada absentee. Diu le clat que el mortir se make sure notarize egal affidavit tergamiu. Direga lo siltame en girel postmark before November 5th or on November 5th. Degal girel bulk mail, girel send el individual. Kita mal specific ula absentee. Ngarinya instruction lo bengela egal paget el ibom send out. Direga mal nit pasim tega time iwi sel instruction mlakal matamala secure ko. State lang, magigil blaktung gimla stat el pakay geroko el sils gimla momitra postmaster after this coordinator masing mo ngara tetele lagi mo lapel mo walk in afternoon lagi mo accept walk in so kaya dia mlamu ulawr sa mera tuta pertiang ngam la stat lawr
Sel da se walk-in en tigel mor omrael
why say Mr. President
malusum tamlel ding la mosil stat el secure el afternoon
di mga kapira ticket tir ngul may lub tuk adra patrol boat el giril motob tungwa ba ver el melo asen giril tawror el morger mo roider sel precinct tir en superil senkyo Diregal mrenga sulela Vice President no sabel gukim coordinate mo motob da dial next week patrol boat el momela secure southwest
part already el mom le mundial expense election commission
why say
sula Dia kata belum lom dos lagi itu saya bawa do. Lama balot mencil dia tak kiare erulin.
Why say?
Anuin. Teka.
del mail out egire el dated el postmark el November 5th men guadi swada bol blagatak el morar adara outside el wasi let's say the momio del nga balot tigel ngara New York el ngura 7th blwasen namo de al sabaril senkyo why say ni dil bol gora mo blagatak
Why say? Mal why say?
Oh, di mana mutul. I got request or absenting. La close had andri ngari adal seal request.
Malungil gare President request deadline niya 29 October 29. May gidir ka continue receive, gidir ka continue process and mal mutra sa gidir 29.
Mitiga dara dara outside da seal email I get requested may we say.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So many are rings. So no.
Ngariar mla oger nga kara 2 days ago wase igel absentil blel request ngariya absentil sab LD more than one specimen el balot and more sel one el address adang sab el tena mora one el address ling makulla bulk mail makora diogel wase seng diungil sendak medel 20 mora imol address tira ulgot tamro sa ubang lengora swada al bol blakatak lel malmalta tokora senkyo
Malungil gare Jennifer request el gim receive I gim send el mora igel address el ngal muskama individual Dagim send el bal the individual request I gim send el mora igel address tira provider mergama madagi bom check lo aseng ika nga man la moptokol morawan leng sebel wan el family tasenkyol botokol at I give the reminder tik man dekal self return len dekal bal girel individual la dot tirakralla.
Okay. Dia kami sula director boleh saya betul baru tergem lo mege kembali di excuse te kami sula ngara update teman. Boleh saya betul oh last. Executive Director. Oh, sorry.
Why say Executive Director?
Sejak dengar tiel special guest ala bayi di kuatele mil saudan kla tabasul ga special assistant tra minister udui ongara arsel digital online gaming. Ulo them last screen ilmen orang ani sel tilo dara newspaper and I think important adi the clarifying idil question le girel sel toleng maybe bolsebel adil biskita gora update my information le girel leng agumra lo se gida mugula online gaming er belaw mtiang ukran moruri minister ma special assistant kam gora di so
Nakman sulang Mr. President, ito tawe ministers ay chima media. I'll introduce myself. I think I'm still unknown to the media and to the people of Palau. So nga kakla tapusun niya rin sang Special Assistant Program Coordinator sa Office of Minister of Finance. Nga kakukne assign the longara at tagi the online gaming activities. So, ra October 7, 2024, Ministry of Finance told the public notice and more other notified till was in open applications for the concessions of virtual pachinko concessions, digits, lottery, game business. Ramam no botoka public inquiry, ramam omral was yung la transparency, so mam will provide information, background, legal framework, or tayo the online gaming. Online gaming are referred to playing games from designated digital platforms and under PNC Title 11, Section 1402, MOF is granted authority by the Office of the President to issue concessions. Concessions include two الفيرتشوال باتشينكو مع 2 الديجيتس lottery game business. So in total, MOF has been issued in total of 4 concessions. So akong bali has been may apply for 2, 1 of each. So sabel apply a 1 el pachingo, ma 1 el digits. Dinda kalyang lak kaya the tool applications for concessions. Or they can still apply for 1 of each. So Ministry of Finance almas was saying malclo opportunity for diversifying its economic growth through regulated online gaming activities. So yang direct promote additional revenue mera government, direct stimulate economic growth. So kalau kadi mutel kadi offer kadi brief history, ma background the online gaming. So the enabling legislation, I'm going to start with RPPL 5-45, 2000. And this was approved and signed by the former and late President Kuniwo Nakamura. At the time, concession fee, like the online gaming activities for virtual pachinko, digits lottery, I mean 2.5 million. So annual fees at $2.5 million. And it was proved unsuccessful. Literally, they apply at the real continual mega payments from the Obisra gaming. It was too steep of a price for them. Mokta say the annual fees, most need support pension or say the time. They earmarked some of the funds towards pension, PNSP, and some other special funds under the hospital. So from there, moving on to 2014, RPPL 8-21, signed and approved by former President Chanson Toribio. 2012, I say 2012. Masal amender ni etul tangli tamne reduce, say the 2.5 million annual fees, almost 250,000. Still timnaka applicants, matamne move tel amender ni 2014. From 250,000, almost 45,000. And from there, imnonya baby applicants apply. From our records, we have 2 applicants, say the time around 2019, and those 2 applicants was Golden Dynasty, ma Wang Rong. Tul kombali ra sina. From then on, nga kama silis ra office ra minister at 2020. These 2 companies they were unable to continue on and provide or make payments for those $45,000 fees. So either Wang Roma, Golden Dynasty each had a concession for 1 virtual, 1 digits. So in total, they were supposed to pay $90,000 to the government of Palau, and they were unable to pay those fees. And the reason why was because during 2020, we all know that COVID hit, and so they had to send most of their workers here in Palau back to where they reside. And when that happened, it affected their operations. They didn't continue the operations, so essentially they were making $0 from the operations. I continue discussions with them, and then we had to terminate their concessions because they were unable to continue. And then from there on, we realized that we needed stringent regulations to make sure that these activities are properly monitored to ensure that no risk befalls on the people of Palau or government Travelo. So right now, maldir kami pas regulations. President Surang namni approve special regulations April 22, 2024. So before, the way it was conducted was that these concessions were being issued in a hidden manner. Issue concessions. But el time, kama mamle issue a public notice, so it's more transparent. Kama open or town marugol interested companies or individuals. So they say that one a difference. Kadi say this. I continue L'Oreal FIC, my FIU, Among yung lorong make sure was the regulations, procedures are all secure and safe for the people of Palau. So all the state one section of regulations just to ensure the people of Palau was the operations of online gaming are strictly prohibited to the citizens of Palau. So even though nganya operations ongoing abelaw, nganya provisions the regulations, so it prohibits and blocks access to the online gaming websites. So sumakorisa abelaw doesn't access. And if you're a citizen, you're prohibited from even participating in these activities. Mukha di the president the update online gaming.
And thank you for returning to Palau.
Thank you.
ماشي ماكلو مرال مر outside بلا مو قاصد سمرير تريال ليلوت المي شو لا
to our interview here. First of all, tell gaming, as you're saying, go back to 2000. Even 2000 to 2012, 2014, technology, access to internet was completely different. Man, may real time. My understanding the part wala pachingo is an online game where the peudo it's almost like a gambling, like a slot machine kind of type of gambling. Hindi al time ngaringi whole world of e-gaming which is in yakal I don't know fall within till I get the licensing process ngaringi malubeng hindi a question lang say I get the license and issue lang. First of all, I can dir ka valid games and dir ka ngaringi alube ka mention yourself part the regulation prohibit the other way allow. Given the change of technology, my e-gaming opportunities ang all time niya tikal gambling namo it's a different business models. Ngara tell announcement mo to first of all sing ngarang bo ngara at ellen mo to ngara in terms ra I get business interested, may get regulations sa malubing ikel card rails mol al time and mo prevent let's say gambling. Ya ongerong isel te alal ngaring ang lol tirak legal kuk ngaring technology makara incorporate ring lo hospital ngaring al time. Alak alwi de sel definition da e-gaming at sila amal broad.
Thank you for the question. So interpretation of e-gaming are essentially gamers who play maybe games on gaming consoles like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, and PCs. The reason why it's e-gaming is because they're playing remotely from their own desktop and their own consoles. And the only way that they're making money off of that is by competing professionally in worldwide events. Or they monetize they stream their games online. Marado Mr. Tilo game.
Esports
Yes. We also conducted an esports tournament, which was the first ever esports tournament at Salabra, and where we kind of showcased the wasing interested players here in Palal. So maybe take their e-gaming to the next level and maybe monetize their skill level. So say that I'll explore ni, but e-gaming is not covered under online gaming. Online gaming amadi cover a virtual pachingo, ma digital lottery, and nothing surpassing that. So and then to your question about guardrails, I give more PNCC make sure you have firewalls in place. Mandaka other below, nganya access tier and mertagi the online gaming websites. Also nganya reporting mechanisms or the operators. We report the merkaman mo say what have you done to make sure that these guardrails continue to be in place. So igayita ka baby steps that we've taken.
And I think the other one, the question I say, with all the new technology, kalala karabal interested to begin with. Maybe you can share say then.
I say, unfortunately, nga daksal familiar popularity of online gaming. I'm more familiar with e-gaming. That's more in tune with my generation. But ever since we opened the notice, we have 3 potential interests. So maybe somewhere where they come from, hindi kanya clue interest I give online gaming. Maybe under further review, I can better discover what's the real interest in these spaces.
The one clarification. Sel nga rala ang required tin may base survey law?
Sel gumes rala.
Principal place of business in Bella. Question is, do they require the principal place of business here or?
Why say? Sel gumes rala, they're required to have a license and permits and registered here in Palau. So yes, they are required to be based here in Palau.
And that's good. So they provide employment, provide a tax base and mara kanami. And I think sel close to treloruri a minister tabsula. They want to make sure that the process is transparent. And we vet and make sure that we get legitimate companies that we can work with. I get 2019 I get the dimle chubura rogo and then they never pay their license certificate. That's why we terminated. So hopefully if these are legitimate, go through the vetting process and then maybe viable. But you're correct. The world is changing, so a value this business is maybe becoming obsolete.
Pwede point out ba si mal sugo mo ay say idang giral mo nga besala. I mean, kita mal di operate with existing sila
20 years ago.
lang. Yeah. Ma kung experience ra nga kay previous algong Bali, lula ba license, ay game le set up alwa algong Bali relaw. Yeah. So they're registered and licensed here in Palau, they operate. Sulang.
Okay.
President Comic, may ang kadamla opener ngi mangmo o sisiluasen di fora tul digital matul virtual edi o sisiwa ara ladang melmon mel 45 patang why say yeah
Sengar alla. Mama di falor alla. Gira dramender alla. And I think that's, something maybe through this process we can discover. As man masarada apply, maybe we need to revise the law. These are things that we need to evaluate. It's true. If you want it, this is the way it's going to be done. But I think it also gives us an opportunity to legal review. So maybe it needs to be revised. So, okay, sulat tapos sulat. Sumore then dimula. You're excused also. Of course, since last press conference, Miss Rakla Timor Hawaii, same private trip, Timor campaign, and of course, the Almong, the Saradong Angel Admiral Samuel Paparo, Gangel Commander Indo-PACOM, asked for an opportunity to visit. So while I was there, I went to see him. Lieutenant General Joshua Reed was also there. Just, of course, as a courtesy call, but more importantly, of course, Indo-PACOM. Just this week, of course, I think High Mars exercise. Lieutenant General Joshua Reed was just here. He was here on Tuesday morning, Monday, Tuesday, muna sa drukti touch base. Discuss egal, tokal activities rablur. Wala kita alman mol invite to say, lutul me toka der me visit, exercise yeah, of course, mal help para uka private sector rablur belaum. Dirigan mo natela de mestria ngalagita nga skura Hawaii. Of course, dirigan mo natela de kora o golf. Lam tirar bigra Hawaii mang. Tiga man betulo golf. Minister matura am tiga sa tiga. Dia kalau ulat to golf course kita ada berada bodo golf course minister matur mung tiga kadam na tigibel. We need more practice. the regal sadra iso say WIA is continuing its disbursement Aigel Ludod. As of October 11, they've already dispersed 5.2 million. And 2.2 million will be dispersed this month, and of course the rest in the coming months. So the mga asular da WIA amring lurerir, and how timely to get it out during the holidays. The regal sadra iso say in this past week ang area will isil girela tora tourism. Mang baiso kan wat alun sa Minister of Tour mang mo ay segel tablol maklol announcement el girela skogil merablur belo.
Sula Presidente malungit total mar other bela rogo to kunya da media. Mang last week kamle almost the kaman mongil announce tel to UA. The cell following day Thursday officially UA amle announce. Was a lururing president of course government ramrigel temle joint effort finally after a year namoring decision was a next summer schedule moring 2 flights a week ngara narital merbelao lovengela UA. This is a 737-800 or a 737 MAX 8 aircraft. El not more summer schedule next year no more April. And it's twice a week, flying from Narita. Aklo to telel self flight Leilani. Connect tergid maragil rogul UA flights ng Amerigel, ma Europe, ma Asia. Mang namganga asim legid amdengel was yagot key market tergid ashabal. Yagot mrenglir ada ashabal merbela wada kalsori regel one stop. El altimer adra ashabal megil mo flying mara Taiwan. It required till lose 2 days. Lang 1 day like Kirasha Taiwan MA, 1 day on the return. What this will do, allow again 3 to 5 to 7 day vacations. The direct. Namodeka to telebol stobra babirabu. Again mo kotay family to kuni. Lang expense hotel ma kal mga na trabulu dikan merbelaw. Ongerung ang mal merungudel announce was a sell tomodorngi pong Palau Paradise Express. Say imamading mo na Air Nugini, el Monteg over niya Air Nauru, just el Alsils. In malungil arngudol announced was a extended another year mo 2025. El dobring asule la government of Australia, ma president el persistence niya uling. I guess I have to say this and Dilor Ambassador Turner was a make the impossible possible. They announced this morning it was a Qantas, a Mosweb, it will take over regular flight Brisbane and Merbelao. And what's good about that flight, Air Nauru mleungil, the global reach ringi. So what this flight with Qantas will do, ang partner ringi wa Alaskan Airline, American Airlines, Cathay Pacific, China Airlines, JAL, Jetstar. Ma kotel lungi ringi tegmi lomsin del mo wa wakal mo conference lagi del Fiji anamo sebe edel di transit through Brisbane el dia kabom to del mo chen sa terminal el dia kamo la ba clock liul ima madeng gerem el to de ma clock le mo check in atarabasho elang na connect ringi namo seamless lagi del transfer e direct open raga guk reacher within Australia ma New Zealand من سيرة أذرقول نراجل كقروس السيريز راجل التبلو البلو السبق المربيلاو متى ترى إيمو راجل كلونيا ونمغنيا كلون ماجي تراساو باسيفيك المريجيت ما كون مرسيجي ده بريزيدنت من يقول عني ديلجيرك ده
ده شو دي قلت تالي مال دمرة سولا first of all Air Nugini قلت دمرة سولا government of Australia يدري من المرة سولا Air Nugini نبيذ. So they were the first to provide the service. Ang yun ang kadari kanang sula government ma Air Nauru ra uk tirigel semle urungul uk no ang yun bide mergo ang utial contract continue tial ur. But I think always the effort has been how do we continue to improve the service, access more markets. Advantage ra kwanta sa ilulungan minister. It will connect every city al Serabro Australia. It will connect New Zealand and Mera. Ama igel Blura Pacific el Mera Brisbane and Arce Merbelao. Very similar to what United can do. El United will look beyond the traffic at Tokyo Merbelao. it will allow them الفيدرا يجل major cities رامريجل دي one stop كمان طوكيو مرغم مربلا and their regular service, you know, how do we establish a regular service from these major carriers that have mileage programs? Travel mileage. Of course, that's one of the advantages. Mileage earn a miles. New Zealand, Australia, but of course they get part of One World, so it's American Airlines and. I mean, these are going to be options that we're going to have. So, exciting news. And I just want to thank Air Nauru for really their commitment. Beginning to take it, Palau Paradise Express, PPE. Anyway, questions, sure.
Understanding na kamla mo tri nemle nuginin mo Nauru lang niya. Awan dahil it's also an effort to go out bring a tourism Australian me. Ngani nga urior sa na to go tourism mo se magana promote mo sa dahil flight me.
So lang wak lam halungil ger. Yes, marklo nges wa kadere lowring la Australian government. الملي فاندرا فام تور جيد المون نملانيا أدرا هوتيل تيان ما تور أوبريتور تيان المنور أستراليا funded by Australian government through PVA الميت تري رقاقروس الأدر الملوم تميت رقاقروس الagencies مقروس التور operators سي ما hotels مغانيا وريور الأل ملاسم both ways تون نسيور أدر المون نقول أدر بيلا نغرتيال المون مرنغارا إيجا المون مرنغار سيلمي بالتأكيد الفلايت أمنا مغنيس الأسيم رقوق هذا الغرا قوام تنغرا تايوان الثرو بلاو المرا أكيد لأستراليا ما and vice versa من غنيا كلول ايجنسي الدريق البلاد هاير تير لون غسيور جيد الماركت را جيدر سي قدريق لو رينا سولة لا Air Nauru president لسرقوق تامير and they put a lot of effort into marketing مترجل الأساينز را بيلاو را السلا ترين السلا باس and they went to a lot of media efforts lo trarbelo. I believe they're going to compete in the rock ranks but the most double fly. So hopefully they will be able to flights and they go longil. They going to to President Kringasil was a tell UA flight ranari tal me level affect resel effort tergid el malara jail. I don't believe that the problem self flight although they promise kishida le gorgar pumo fly it's a charter flight. Get them out a regular flight. So hopefully this will actually trigger get the lejal mo fly regular. More your competition, more your fares.
Yeah. One more. Hindi ka ako update one of the other largest market na Korea.
Sulang wak lang mahal umilegal karim. Effort tulong kala Korea mahal ngaringi. As you know. Pre-COVID, I'm running 4 flights, 2 Asiana and 2 Korean Airlines. Although other government three, a partner gid ra Sojits, a direct partner gid along a series gid tel flight ra UA. Ongoing efforts and modadu agel flights out of Korea. Ding direct sal Muammar, mong kahaladong iltelgip. Ding ngani audio lorun nga Peter ma Minister Obiang, ma partner gid ra piak al modadu urtir. Sojits atara klol kumbalil plada higher till. Gorawal ونسير جدا about the Japan market, my Korean markets.
Gora di ulmo el flight ta Singapore Airlines se go mla modian se bemel gora smodi silva se sense bel mol.
So la gen Singapore is a big market al direct. Sell effort actually it was done by a private entity. Somehow adim nakal sal MCC a marketing effort certir maulun di ulumu le direk al mosoro din direk al nganya ongoing discussions loban tri ra Kakros Airlines. As you know, Jetstar now is a partner tel Qantas mqadam al molmal lo sigal du ule lang reconnect sa gidal flight din direk al stop efforts sa gidal wagil president kadam la so connect gidal marogul key markets open up gidal opportunities.
And there's ongoing discussions to sign an air services agreement to Bangla Qatar, ma direct air services agreement to Bangla Ablura India. So one of the things I told the United, I said, Ablur Bela, kasi kama malmol, maldi invite tarogul skogin merablur Bela. You either going to be ahead or you're going to be behind. Taking the risk and starting. In fact, I said New York, Kurt Campbell, I say, no, I'm pushing them for 4 flights a week, and they are 2, more 4. So, but we have to think big, and no, I said we have an amazing destination. One of the important reasons why, for example, sa flight to Tokyo access most millionaires rablulat, ang rabluram regal. Per capita, ukputo millionaires tira rabluram regal is Australia. So accessing Aigal markets, because we talk about high-end market, tax whatever. At the end of the day, we want the high-end market that understands the value of destination and want to contribute to yes, Singapore would be good, probably a regular carrier. See that's what we need to target, like Singapore Airlines. That's eventually that's what you want. It's hard for these small carriers. Everybody wants to use their mileage, so it's hard for them.
Since shout out del morakau matimer komil mlosop ilgut maklitial flight tra UL ra talong la siapal mabela makora di wonder wase ngla ora ngaring ya alta du lobangela UL wase ngla asab elongang taara la ferti ra talong la kwam mabela leng tiadi 1 hour 45 minutes since ngora malungi laurelem lobangela government tamrigel ma UA maybe asap emelguk maalia alda du ulgirela arala skogir gidele nganya buigra Germany ma couple el to ngang amru laigal cheaper sele Germany brand sel BOSC BOSCA actually akmle meter tir eli engo ay selwase minister ngira lwasengil ngang awal dilul ara round trip ticket tengi el memili di 2 weeks ngara vacation wasakti dimlakal suwa kal ngusel breakfast lobangela hotel leng coster nga ka $30 eats nga mabiig matigal terul ngalgeg mang ditil tewang walbol $120 yalger dara airport eng waseng malulisel di malay te Director Peter Paloy goramil gol tial arrival ngania adel door tiram le rikle door osiga taxi ngania ruba kalokon dilusori o t-shirt te wase nga has gegarel mlay o sinsab egalot ta kamiw endinga wase kamamamla travel marahuri ping magere tablol wase ko mo kargik ngay tigel ko sorry make money overcharge mangwase malungi lablumiw di ko to recommend el wase ulgum mornya sign el wase ngarinya designated el basura taxi mo sa mil remula aigal mlara taxi al ubang Uber el nganya sticker maki mo kora feel safe el nganya adama malguksel lamay eng arsalira actually tamlar tiara last year mle recommend their bela wase paidi mo ara ticket mi edim book online rather than getting the package ling maltakay mangora di so al si share sel wase talgibel di malay ta airport hopefully sab edel gut maklil gora mo bright nganya mal designated del pasyo gira taxi masel to den tomor say makora di share sel dire
Komoran sulang, yes. Pwede lai tabolo sa udan nga Peter di taxi bogi mo sa udan ni. Agi actually gimral mo dadur tika da taxi elang bra amra ring hindi makasar ada taxi lang. Hindi ada kabol tede. Really leng sel night market tengar nga taxi service ilgi morungi. Ende kul kong clear ngare imon maralung la taxi ring alfar de wing la bile le wing la bola taxi ring di egel tigal teru gi ba mo dadur tir. Although mo ringi mo niya win uniform tir mo win designated area, so we'll work on that. Sular will comment.
If I may suggest, last of edel guk recommend and morar app el start ta Uber service el loader lobangela PVA el guk korasay de ludo del dimliril Uber and Grab el wamrigel mong akora di share say.
Medic share mo yes ang tilang as edel mo meserngi di partner cell pilot project lorong dalbas eventually ka mo adra pasel moras airport. So it's a slow sort of process. Hopefully by January in sabadam la هذا include السيل مو part router تلباس so هني أقولوا لنا سول جيرل
ماذا قاعد last التبلو هذه سؤال شير قلت له mal appreciate success تيل one leap program they just finished a program KES المجلة فاليريا رونول باي DJJ مع NEA officers مع other BPS during an intercession تمنط مختير مع parents مرغو really program الأكيرا نالجيلا تقرأ mental health and teaching them life skills but more importantly making the right choices لجدا قد مساعدة تقرأ درجس we have to start helping them get away and make the right choices. So, mental health, you don't solve your problems by taking drugs. And the problem is always going to be there and it get worse. So, I'm going to one lip at the NGO, but effort on the prevention side. First, the program are bullies. The regal otherwise was at October 10, I'm like handover, or sell el vessel, vilas el earth, and Laura other Ablilio. No sé del attendría la Miguel, of course, Ambassador Taiwan, Governor Ablilio, Speaker, Ragamel, ma the regal Alex Naira, Ingas, Masra Tatiro. Lastly, in this other الوايموتيال تيال مسا منستر ستيت نقدر يقمل ملا رابلورا تايوان دين سوق الموتيال تيال مال سيل تملون يميل سيف دي كده ملا رمين سيل الغورا اللي أبلورا سينا المرا أبلورا تايوان الملو مادي اللير ماسكو يرتيلو كليتال إيمول بلو كده مالو مرال واسي كده جيريد الملمول مالمليسي free and open Indo-Pacific يقدر ملمون ململيسير عبوده سيل التريتيلر أدرسينا goes against rule of law goes against peace and security مقدم الغندمري ملمون ملون يترى ملمون ملغاري عبوده أدرون التال تايوان ستريت كده عندنا سيا عندي غنوض الغرباب يميل طول وعبوده المورا سبق لي لقنار ما ديرغل لموت مقللة أي قلب الواث قدر التنقط ملامو كمان التايم من غير أبود ارتيال باسيفيك وضليت من المول ملوايشي ministra state kadimo mshirse last omroliu
Mansula presidente del mal saula muskate alom tera gauma government belal murtele momon 113 years ra independence ra blura Taiwan Tamal appreciate the presence of representation of Belau. Mal mofiler tel the wilra gidma other Taiwan. Mal Malaysia experience to Talmud President Mak Cabinet. Prime Minister Tuvalu Amlong. Sel the bora protocol at the rank according to Tom Oberwam Motob Belamlo before Tuvalu. Naga the minister level. I will get at the moment to myself. Ada ngarelema maldi orang sa tiam sigi momobor kami. Masigido o ti sel de luil la donglela ba bela ma Taiwan. So akman fortunate to experience segi te al. Emamle wila celebration of course said la Moshe's statement to President Lai. It was a very interesting statement. First mal mereka sulira adra blue ongeru their position Taiwan Strait. Number 3 semle ot close statement tenia mal promote youth president. They had almost 20 minutes of parade of youth. Arnal Gimle getting Taiwan boxing gold medal. Their volleyball teams, Tiamal Seo Otia, the government of Taiwan are looking into the future. Mangmala, I'm not impressed. They Malmo set their president of the Bluma government to tira or message Girilla, Ramadar Toy. And of course, at Momrega went to the presidential palace. I was escorted by the Deputy Prime Minister, which is probably the number 2 highest ranking other government of Taiwan. So it was a privilege and an honor to be escorted like Abang Amano Mesegal Samples Ragal ma Masada Tel program. Gora lo tisel the will Velama Taiwan how much they really appreciate it. You know, because we always stand for them international regional organizations. So they have gulak mo those peangeso. Di Jose President, we believe and trust masaya. Ar other way gidal support the rule of law ma peace rabul other. Akbalangal tangateling am delegation ng Mamal Mlonga amnanya Governor Palo na Malgayo delegate na Malgayo fruto sa Tadley ma ang the legislature chief ngirengas Piliani Thomas direct ambassador Orum ulbangget mo ma staffer other Malgayo at JB amlong ma ngale Walter tigagidia ulbangget mura tel celebration abol merek segi da kuk mla company tin mura Taichung mo witness ra governor Amalgeo ma mera Taichung sign at the sister city arrangements mo mal mlewila arrangement ma meeting we got to meet investors from Taichung late yesterday late message from Taichung ma say the proposal merbelaw mura Amalgeo with 60 potential investors. After that 1 hour meeting, exchanges, so they're interested to come. They got email, so the message for possible investments. It was a fruitful visit. Last appropriate activity gama went to Pintung. Kung recall it together other indigenous people na tira may mga limang masilbelaw. Tamle invite rawal mo tour cultural village ma kamama dilo mdax mo sige mo tour maral. But the whole village mar the tira amlen me mugar kamam obang kamam for the half a day. Idla mo so go make cultural ties with Malgayo state. So all in all man me fruitful of visitor kamam. Man me ngilom lam makmal me kasulila president. Yes, I was aware masin. Ay di sila dial mas ko gimlir ka Taiwan di sel sumanya si klomarar ko. Even in Taiwan, there is a big threat to Taiwan. None. Our other cell blue was business as usual. Other Taiwan make all the arrangements. President and rest assured, Taiwan support from our Sulang.
Minister. Sadra you the quality social update according to Jesus PNOC am calling all athletes el girel tial maral mel mini games not only are we preparing a lot of facilities it's one of the largest budgets girel la tora sports le da diriglo umral wase girel milisi irtigal ngalgiada mang taken excel in sports diriglo dil tora school Tora sports mang demonstrate opportunity. I know Minister Matura Uxel and Ministry yang anisel ngel chivra youth and create activities, but more importantly, finding them good job opportunities. Help pertil uxmi aurera berablur bela mga mo naruch lang artel mga tabsul ma tilon mga se tigidar ngaya se they're coming back and we want to see more. So nakara hawayak man modur tigal nalgedro ase ali go malas kori undi go mermei de gadi martia magadamra di mrenga sula dios tial klangal tangat tani edregal el mal sodo tial tial mo mrenga sulir trialuka tira public servants tial mashor gidra bekal sils el togobet sils tira al sils. So a very special happy birthday mora Keith Sungyama ngangar sel embassy gidra Manila consular gidra mabuhay Madrigal Mays, Ngira Ungil, Ga Labor Compliance Minister Matul. Direga ngaria Benedict Quintaro, Gangara Juvenile Justice, MOJ, Madrigal Lola Koshiba, Gangara CHE Community Health Clinic, MHHS, Ma Lovelin Noal, Gadriga ngara MHHS, Human Services. So happy birthday. Adios lo mkaltangat tertigal togobel tsil sitira al sils matrigal ukmlo border tira al week marbek al other belaw ma gidra belwadra blur belaw ma uk next el podakaswes maybe in 2 weeks 2 weeks sula ditya another record almost 2 hours again Dikmal. Hindi Imran mereng asulim. Not only the questions, madri kat suggestion as how we have to improve. Like government together so I'm sula.